Welcome to the 5-pound challenge. We are doing 5 ways to reset your metabolism. Today is day 1, way 1, and that is shorten your eating window. So most of us are eating pretty much all day long. I mean, the moment we wake up, we have breakfast or we have our coffee, and then we, maybe snack throughout the morning, grabbing something from the teacher's lounge or off the counter, or just when you're in the fridge, you're grabbing a little snicky snack, and then we'll do lunch, and then on and on until dinner or a bedtime snack. And so we're eating most of the day. And so what happens when it comes to resetting our metabolism and trying to give ourselves a chance at losing weight is our body needs a break from digestion. It needs a break from insulin. It needs a break from eating. And, we have a fasting window overnight when we, from the time we're done with our dinner or our bedtime snack until the next morning when we eat our first meal or our first snack, breakfast or coffee, whatever it is. But that fasting window sometimes would benefit us to be a little bit longer. And so that is why we are talking about shortening the eating window. And so the reason we want to do that, like I said, we need a break from digestion and we need a break from insulin. Insulin is a hormone, and it's what helps shuttle sugar circulating in the bloodstream into the cells. Otherwise, we would have sugar all the time in our bloodstream, and that's no good. And so what happens though is as we are constantly eating, we are constantly pumping out insulin. And so your body is like, okay, well, I get what this level of insulin is, and so I'm not going to use it as efficiently. And so then our insulin levels have to rise to meet our new need. And then we get used to having so much insulin. So then our insulin levels rise. And so that's called insulin resistance. And so that can be very hard on our body and the metabolism. And so we don't want insulin resistance. We want insulin sensitivity. Insulin sensitivity is huge when it comes to supporting the metabolism and losing weight of any measure. When you stop eating, your insulin drops gradually over time. It will drop, and that's when your body can access stored fat for fuel instead of always using the sugar that's just floating around in the bloodstream so easily. When it doesn't have that energy source, then the body says, well, I don't see any sugar to use for energy. I guess I'm just going to use the fat that's already on this body. And that's when our body that's when our metabolism really kicks on, and that's certainly when we can start losing weight. So shortening the eating window will lower those average insulin levels. It will improve metabolic flexibility. So when we talk about people who say my metabolism is shot from all those years of yo-yo dieting, they're just metabolically inflexible. And so we want to improve your metabolic flexibility, which is your body's ability to say, oh, now I can use fats for energy. Oh, I can use carbs for energy. And it can kind of flip-flop back and forth really easily. That's metabolic flexibility. And shortening the eating window, eating less throughout not less amount-wise, but less time. Eating less time can really help improve that metabolic flexibility. And so even fasting for 12 hours overnight, sometimes, let's just say you eat dinner and then your bedtime snack is at 8 o'clock and then you wake up at 6:30 and have your breakfast. Why did I do 6:30? You wake up at 7 and you have breakfast. That's 11 hours that you're fasting. So even increasing that to 12 hours, shortening your feeding window, increasing your fasting window by 1 hour can increase autophagy, which is your body's cellular cleanup mechanisms, and that will really help with energy, brain clarity, longevity, and metabolic flexibility. You don't need long fasts. 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours is great. That's kind of average anyway. Those will really make a measurable difference. But what we're going to be talking about in this way is shortening your eating window just a little bit more. And so first things first, you need to find your baseline. What is your feeding window look like, and what does your fasting look like? And are they different? Are they different all the time, every day? So like I said, it's the last thing you eat at night to the first thing you eat in the morning. That's your fasting window. And then that whole time from the first thing you eat to the last thing you eat, that's your feeding window or your eating window. So when do you typically have your first and last bite of the day? And write that down. Most people are having a feeding window of about 14 to 16 hours, but we need to find out what yours is. And then start shrinking it gradually. I am not wanting you to jump to a 20-hour fast, 4-hour feeding window. No. In fact, please do not do that, especially not right now. That is not way 1 of resetting your metabolism. That would probably not do well for us right now. So start by trimming 1 hour off your eating window. And once that feels comfortable, shorten it again until you're at least to that 12 hours. And if you're at that 12 hours, try an hour again. And so pick your rhythm, pick what works for you. If you are an early riser and you start eating earlier in the day just because you have breakfast and you got to get out the house, then finish earlier in the evening. Maybe cut out your bedtime snack or move it up. And if you prefer late dinners, if that's just what works with your family, then push your breakfast back, instead of eating at 7 in the morning, maybe take it with you. And if you can eat it at work, eat it at 8 or 9 at the office, or eat it later in the morning. It's not about skipping meals too. Do not get me wrong. Don't start skipping meals. That's not what we want for you. We just want to create space for your metabolism to rest for that long period overnight and just really capitalize and utilize it. Make sure you are hydrating well and drinking plenty of water, because that is what is going to flush out things that your body is starting to release now that it has a chance to worry about things other than the constant food that you're snacking on and you're eating. So make sure you're hydrating and avoid caloric drinks that restart digestion. So if you are fasting and then you drink coffee with creamer, that takes you out of a fast. Or like shakes, anything, just because it's liquid doesn't mean it doesn't count as your eating window. So avoid those things unless it's just water. Water is fine. Please drink water. So what to expect when you start shortening that eating window, you might see better energy and more stable energy, because your insulin and your cortisol, that stress hormone, will start to stabilize. You can see an improved digestion because your body isn't always digesting and has a break, and then it's able to do better because it's not on all the time. You might also see less nighttime reflux or bloating. You'll see better sleep, certainly. Melatonin and insulin will start to balance out and give you better rest and deeper rest. Reduced inflammation is another benefit of shortening that eating window. And then weight regulation, certainly, because you are getting better at utilizing fat for energy, as opposed to, just what you're eating. You're utilizing what's already on the body. And then fewer cravings as well. So, action step for today is pick your window for today. Know what your window is right now, and then pick your window and decide, am I going to shorten my eating window at night, or am I going to push it back in the morning? Log it in your journal or like the portal, and make one simple note about how you feel the next day. That's all we want you to do for now. And remember, this isn't about restriction. It's about rhythm. So you are creating space for your body to do what it already knows how to do. Our bodies know how to fast. Our bodies know how to go without food for a while. It's not going to starve. So give it time to do that and utilize the benefits of a prolonged fast. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to tame inflammation, which is one of the most important steps to unlocking better energy, better metabolism, and longer-term health.